Welcome to our training video for the PL-VF3 by Subsurface Instruments. The PL-VF3 is specifically designed to detect conductors such as buried pipes and cables. It can detect buried power cables, cable TV cables, gas and water pipes, sewer lines, telecommunication lines, fiber optic cables with sheath, SONs, and inspection camera transmitters. This training is also relevant to the PL-VF10 and PL-VF10R, which uses the same receiver but different transmitter. Now let's look at the transmitter. The transmitter screen and buttons are the same between the 3 and 10-watt versions. Along with its digital screen, it includes a hookup for direct connection or corded inductive clamp, and 2 buttons which are power or wattage output and frequency selection. Our screen shows the frequency selected, power or battery life, indication of direct connection or inductive mode, connection with receiver, wattage output strength, and resistance of circuit for direct connection. Remember, the higher the number, the worse the connection will be to the circuit, so you'll want to connect the red clamp to another source with a lower reading or check grounding. Now let's look at the receiver. The receiver P-Link works within 400 to 500 yards from the transmitter's line of sight. 5 buttons are available for use: power, frequency selection, mode selection, and gain up and down buttons. Its digital screen highlights absolute signal strength, a continuous bar graph showing exact location of conductive pipe or cable, a compass showing you the direction of the line you are locating, continuous depth, battery strength indicators for both the transmitter and receiver, frequency selected, mode, and peak or null indicator. Peak is shown by the bar graph around the circle. In the lower right corner, the sharp peak mode is the fastest reacting of the 2 peak options. In order to read depth, it must be in this mode. The null is shown by the arrows on either side of the absolute signal strength. Arrows are only to be used as a guide. The null mode reacts similar to the peak mode, but readings are inverse. This mode can be used, but when in doubt, use peak mode. Now let's look at how we use the PL-VF3 in action using a direct connection in locate mode utilizing a water source. When using a direct connection, find a visible conductive source. In this case, a tracer wire on a water PVC pipe. Attach the red cord to the conductive source and the black to a ground stake nearby pushed into the soil. As stated before, look at readings to ensure you have a solid connection to the output signal. Turn on the transmitter and select the proper power level. Turn on the receiver. Here are some settings and techniques to ensure the most accurate readings. Select the proper frequency per application. In this case, 33 kHz is the chosen frequency. Also, be sure to hold the receiver with the bottom close to the ground and use proper motion to ensure accuracy. Remember, your P-Link between receiver and transmitter will work up to 400 to 500 yards line of sight. The first step in locating your conductive source is to determine where your sweep of an area will be. The sweep should be done in a semicircle, 180 degrees or sometimes 360 degrees around the conductive source. Always make sure your sweep is at least out 10 feet further than where your ground stake is. Best practices are to keep the transmitter and ground stake at least 90 degrees from the targeted conductor. The top reading gives you the absolute signal strength. When it reaches the highest number, you are directly above the target. The arrows to either side of this reading give you an idea of the direction to go for the absolute signal reading. Left side, go right. Right side, head left. Remember, arrows need to be used as a guide only. The compass in the middle of the circle gives you an idea of where the positioning for the line is headed. Like a real compass, it will adjust as you move and rotate the receiver. You'll hear a sound emanating from the receiver. This is another way to find the line by not looking at the screen. When the pitch starts sounding higher than normal, you have found your line. Follow the signal bar graph and pitch for the most accurate reading. Now follow the readings as you move the receiver back and forth over the land to find and mark lines buried in the ground. Be sure to move the receiver in a sweeping back and forth motion to ensure accurate readings. You always need to see the rise and fall of the bar graph to ensure accuracy. If you're having troubles finding the signal, remember you can always adjust the frequency on both devices and boost the wattage on the receiver. To do this, hold the power button solidly for 2 seconds, release, and you will see the word Pro appear on the device. You are now in programming mode. Here, using the gain up and down buttons, you can increase the gain reading to better your chances of finding weaker signals. To exit the Pro mode, one solid press and release will return you to the locating screen. When locating using the optional induction clamps, the process of locating is the same, except the clamp is designed specifically for locating telephone lines, electrical, and cable TV lines. As an example, for locating electric lines, place the induction clamp around the service line source and be sure that the clamp securely closes, so the connectors at the top of the clamp are in contact with each other and are fully closed. The transmitter should be roughly 7 to 10 feet from the clamp at a 90-degree angle. When using the wireless option, the colored lights correspond with the transmitting signal. The power button will turn on the unit, and the frequency button will change the frequency transmitted. Ensure that the receiver is set to receive the same signal the transmitter is set to. When making sweeps with the receiver, make sure you're pointed towards the wireless clamp to ensure best results. Thanks to the comprehensive options provided by the PL-VF3 and PL-VF10, finding power in cable lines should be easy and accurate. For more info on this and other products, go to SSIlocators.com.